Full of rage, not like myself, isolated.
Tense, almost constantly.
It's not like a switch that I could just turn off. It's always going to be there.
I'm trying to just focus on the words that are coming out of my mouth because I can barely hear myself think.
Anxiety, rage.
Unless you have it, you can't understand how it just robs you of life.
For the people that don't think this is real, it's so bad sometimes that I just don't want to be here.
It will stop you from doing things that you want to do because you're worried about the confrontations you might have or the triggers you might face when you do them.
I do everything I can to cope with it. I find ways that can help take the edge off, but in reality, it's very unbearable, and it's a living hell for me.
People smacking their lips when they talk.
Sneezing, sniffling.
Chewing, throat clearing, nail clipping.
Bubble wrap, pop, 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 pop. Not okay.
The part that people don't get is that you look intolerant, but they don't understand that you can't control it.
Sometimes the intent of how a person is making a noise can double or triple or amplify how irritating it is.
It's not a matter of us being annoyed by noises. It's a matter of us not being able to block out things that cause us extreme pain and completely consume our lives and make it nearly impossible to be around other people.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Gould, the director of a new documentary called Quiet Please. I've had a sensitivity to certain sounds most of my life, but I didn't realize it was an actual condition until a friend called me and said, "There's a name for what you have." And I said, "What do I have?" And she said, that sound thing." And then she told me it was called misophonia, which literally translated means hatred of sound. And once I realized that there were thousands of others with the same disorder, I knew I had to produce a film about the emotional and psychological impact of this life-altering condition.
Something happens to you as a person and you get very anxious and you feel your heart beating fast and your stomach churning. That's the exact sort of response that most people with misophonia have when they hear these irritating sounds. And that's why it's so frustrating. It's not just that you feel irritated, but your whole body is responding in a way that's causing you discomfort.
Let's just say there's a before and after that conversation, and the before usually would go like this, and then the after would sometimes go like that, or sometimes it would sputter out, but there was always a decline after misophonia came up.
With misophonia, it's prevented me and my mom from having the best relationship that a mother and daughter could have. We would be absolute best friends if I didn't have this thing that makes me not even want to be around her. And it's terrible. Yeah, we would be the best of friends.
My husband is very careful around me. He's very conscious of what he does. And I see him. He's living on eggshells because he loves me, and I appreciate that. But I don't want him to live on eggshells. I don't want him to feel like he's in some kind of cage of his own, because me more than anyone, I know what that feels like. It's just not fair. So we're fortunate that we have a great relationship and we're understanding, and we do our best to respect and support each other, but it definitely, it drives a wedge in between you.
first time I heard that misophonia was an actual thing, I felt an incredible sense of relief, like there was a weight lifted off my shoulders, because up until I knew it was a real thing, and up until I knew that there were other people that were dealing with this too, I thought there was just something incredibly wrong with me. Even though technically there still is something wrong with me, I just thought that I was crazy, that I had problems, that I would never be able to relate to anybody, and that this would always be something that I would have to keep hidden inside, that I couldn't ever tell anybody about.
Misery loves company. When other people are suffering with the same thing as you, at least in those people can get together and hopefully we can do something about it, you know.
She came like running in my room. It has a name, it has a name. She told me about it. She said there's a whole blog on it. And there was like one blog on it. It was still pretty new. And she explained it to me and that other people had it. And that was probably the first moment that I didn't feel completely alone.
I went to the Misophonia message boards and read a whole bunch of stories that sounded an awful lot like mine. It's a very cathartic night.
A weight just came off me. Like there's an actual name. I'm not crazy. I'm not like this intolerant tyrant. This is real.
Knowing that I'm not alone and that now it's, kind of being recognized and people might actually find a way to deal with it, cure it, it's just such a relief. I feel for the first time in almost 38 years that I have hope that I can enjoy life, the way the average person does.
Being so young, I'm scared that it'll get worse as I get older, but it's one day at a time.
Hopefully somebody very smart and very, very generous with their time will figure out a way to help people like us.
It's important for those of us who have it to not feel like we have to hide it.
If they don't come up with a cure, I at least know that I'm not going to drive myself so crazy because I have the solace of knowing that there are other people out there that are going through the same thing. No one should have to live this way.